This review is going to be super helpful because one of the most widely released Polaris products for award seats is on the 767-300. Now, this business class is in a 1-1 configuration. It's my least favorite of all the Polaris products, but it is the one that you'll see the most award space on. We're going to run you through the entire Polaris experience, and you can find the 767 mainly operating out of the New York metro area, DC, and today we're actually flying this out of Chicago O'Hare. I have flown this several times to London, which is again what we are doing today. And the big thing to look at, what I would focus on this, is the difference between the 767 and the larger wide-body planes. We're going to show you a comparison so you understand what those differences are. And without further ado, please like, subscribe, and let's pick it up right at the Polaris Lounge here in O'Hare. Okay, we're gonna hop into the Polaris Lounge. It's right where you come into Terminal C, like C21 area. You can kind of see right here. It's like right where you come up from the escalators and everything. But we're gonna pop into Polaris and have a quick little meal before we hop on our 767 ride in Polaris over to London. Let's go check it out. I have found I've been to the DC, Chicago, Houston. I've been to a bunch of different Polaris lounges. They're all consistently very nice, and make sure that you get on a wait list or immediately check in for the dining section, because that's really what differentiates it. They have shower suites and everything else, but it's that dining room with the sit-down dining and the very good food is what differentiates it. Okay, so the restaurant is actually full. We got like an hour wait, so we're just gonna have a little bit over here and just kind of hang out to the flight and probably not eat on the plane. So. As you can see, I just popped over to the buffet, had a salad with some chicken, and I thought that would suffice because I didn't think there's any way I was going to get into the actual dining room, and wouldn't you know it. So I just ate the salad, and I'm basically full. I received a text that says that, like, my table's ready. So should we go check it out? Let's go check it out. Fairly large. This is the size of my hand. This is like the smallest skillet pot. So one nice thing about this lounge is sort of individual stalls. So even if you don't go over and use a shower suite, which those are on the far side and fully occupied right now, you still can come in here. You can hang up things. Like, it's a good size. You know, you got a full size mirror to make sure you look okay. So that's really nice. And of course, you know, you can sit here. Someone left that. But anyways, they still have these two, which are pretty nice. So one thing that I do on red-eye flights, if I know I'm just gonna get on the plane and like just go straight to sleep, which this one I am because it's at 9:20 and I just wanna get as much sleep as possible, and that's what I'm eating in the lounge. So I just go ahead and brush my teeth here in the lounge, which, you know, that's a nice big area here at the Polaris Lounge. So I can go ahead and do that. I can just get on the plane. Once we get up, I'll pop pajamas on. I like to walk around the airport in pajamas. Get on the plane, pop pajamas on, my teeth are already brushed, and I just go straight to sleep as soon as we're up. Seat down, done. So that's what I do. Now you've redeemed points, you're flying on the 767. As you can see, there's 18 rows in business class, although 17 and 18 straddle the galley, so there's only 2 seats in either of those rows. It's a 1-1-1 configuration. These center seats, I'm telling you, they are not ideal because you're just right on the aisle. Now, they don't alter in and out. It's like whether you're on the left side of the plane or the right side of the plane, you're right on the aisle. Now, I want to show you what the 777 looks like and how those seating cabins are configured as well, because there's a lot more privacy. So you find a lot more award space on these 767s, but it is an inferior product in my mind. And I'm just showing you this because it's like, look, they got the plugs. I mean, the IFE's fine. There's a cabinet for storage, so that's nice. And you can put some valuables in it so you don't have to worry about it when you're sleeping. But comparing it to the 777-300ER business class, there's just a lot more. Like these paired seats, if you're flying with somebody, it's like you're right next to them. If you're on the 767, which I got booted from my seat because a mother and their child were flying together and they wanted to be across the aisle from one another. And I actually had one of the really nice window seats on the 767. You can see here, if you're on the 777, you can just sit right next to the other person. You can have an aisle. It makes it much more private. The 777 is just much, much, much nicer than the 767. So keep that in mind if you're looking to book the 767 compared to the 777, or if you have the option on the same routes, go with the larger plane. It is much, much nicer. Now, both of them are going to come with all the same accoutrements. So on that 777, you saw the Saks Avenue bedding. You're going to get that on the 767. You're going to get the same sort of stuff. So that's not really that big of a deal. The amenity kits are going to be the same. The product from that perspective is going to be the same. Now, this is older. It's actually a little bit older of a flight. So this is not the current 2025 amenity kit, but the actual things that you get in it are the same. You're still going to get the hand cream, the lip balm, the facial spray, the eye mask, the socks. All of that's going to be the same. And the bedding is consistent. This is the same bedding that you're going to get now as you would have when I flew this about a year and a half ago. So you can see like the seats go down flat. They're a little bit narrower than they would be on the 777. I did not have meal service on this flight because, as you saw, I ate in the lounge. So, I thought it was a little bit narrow. I thought the seat was a little bit shallower. So my head was like kind of right back in that little cavern area. And then you can see how I'm right on the aisle. So if you do sleep, I found it easiest to sleep on my side, sort of like tucked in towards the actual entertainment system and the storage cabinet. I woke up in time to get some breakfast so you could see it. But on a flight that is under 7 hours, it just digs into your sleeping time if you eat on the flight. And I think the dining on this plane, I don't believe that it ended until about 90 minutes into the flight. I was sort of like intermittently sleeping. So anyways, that's something to keep in mind if you're on these shorter flights. Like look at that, 6 hours and 18 minutes, and we were dining. I checked the in-flight Wi-Fi. It didn't work for me, so that's unfortunate. And here was breakfast. Look at how terrible that looks. Just looks disgusting. Who wants to eat unappetizing looking food? The bread was weird. I just did not like it at all. The fruit was fine. I had a little bit of the yogurt, but the other stuff, no thank you. I forced myself to eat parts of it, but no thank you. But again, this is why I did not save any time for dinner on the flight going over and ate in the lounge instead. And I'll just grab a coffee and some yogurt or something else when I get into London. You can see a little bit better of the storage now with the cabin lit better as we're on a descent into London and all the storage you have overhead. That's about it. Thank you for following. I always like to have a little bit of a hydration drink, especially if you have any champagne or alcohol on a flight. Having some electrolytes is very, very worthwhile. Now you can see as we're exiting the plane, those ones that are tucked right up next to the window, those are the ideal seats, and it was actually what I was supposed to have before I was bumped for the family. Unfortunate that happened, but I'm glad that the family at least got to sit a little bit closer to each other. So it was a little bit disappointing. I was hoping to have the seat that was sort of closer to the window, but I ended up getting about 5 hours of sleep, so that's pretty good. And you can see we are here going up to level 4, which is where you catch an Uber. You basically just leave the terminal over there, you come right across, hop on this big escalator here, or you could take an elevator or a lift, as they say here. And then you just come up to where the mini cabs come. I believe it's level 4, and then they tell you what row you're in. Pretty easy to get an Uber. It's about 45 to 50 pounds. So let's go get one. I ended up, you can see where the Ubers are just right here. I ended up having to take the elevator down a level because that escalator actually takes you to 5, and Ubers are on 4, so just a little FYI. For this stay in London, we actually redeemed Hilton free night certificates and Hilton points, and we stayed at the Trafalgar, which is an incredibly located hotel right off Trafalgar Square, and it has its amazing rooftop bar restaurant that has sweeping views of London, and it's in a very central location. It's very easy to walk to Buckingham Palace, down to the Thames. It's an incredible location if you're a tourist looking to hit all the sites. As always, we appreciate when you like and subscribe, and have a great week. God bless.